Hey, you want to see something really scary?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.
What was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Welcome to Fright Night.
Welcome back to Jump Scare. I'm Betty.
And I'm Chad.
This week we're covering 2024's Street Trash.
Bring in volunteer number 85.
I'm still gonna get paid.
Volunteers receiving a dose of synthesized substrate.
Don't put that needle in me.
B282.
No, stop. Wait.
Citywide curfew is now in effect. You are ordered to remain in your homes and off the streets. Failure to comply will result in prosecution.
It's the 8th consecutive year of Mayor Mustard. Will he be re-elected?
Mayhem in the city. Homeless are fighting against the government. People are fighting for their rights.
What the fuck?
There's another one! Go!
No babies.
I present to you the crew, the most incredible crackheads that you'll ever meet.
I have reduced the number of homeless people in the city to basically zero.
The mayor's fucking melting people.
They're exterminating everybody. You are finally ready, my China. It's time.
We don't want this party turning into a massacre.
Massacre sounds good to me!
Fucking good, come here!
This is a revisioning of the 1987 film Street Trash, which I have not seen.
I saw it a long time ago, but I don't remember too much about the original. So I guess that's good. We don't have any comparisons with it, really.
I do know that the differences, at least one of the differences, is the 87 one was set in Brooklyn, in New York.
Yeah.
And it was contaminated alcohol that was
the problem.
They got
bad beer or something. I remember that much about it, and everybody started exploding and doing all the various gross things that happened. This one is written, or it's directed by Ryan Krueger, and it's written by Ryan Krueger and James Williamson. And this one is set in the future. This one is set in 2050 in Cape Town, South Africa. And things in the world have gotten very bad. There's no more middle class. There's the very rich and the very poor. That's all there is. And the very poor are all homeless. They're all on the streets. They're stealing food to survive. There's gangs. It's very not post-apocalyptic, but it is for some people, It's like half the world's living in the post-apocalyptic future and the other half is living in the clouds. They're not being touched by any of this stuff that's happening on the streets. And, the main thing in this, instead of it being contaminated alcohol, it's a drug being put out on the streets to get rid of the homeless people.
Yeah, a chemical agent called V.
V.
Now, everything you said just sounds so familiar, Shad.
Oh, does it seem like it's going on right now?
Yeah, it's crazy because, like a lot of literature and films of the past, there's so many similarities to a lot of things that are happening now within the United States itself and the world. And it's just so mind-boggling, like, when this was written, this version, like, obviously, they have their whole, whatchamacallit, sight on, like, what's, like, going on or what could be. I mean, 2050, yeah, okay, that's 25 years from now, but God, 25 years goes by so fast, like blink of an eye.
Yeah, that's not that far away. It's not like it's set in 2150 or something, you know. And I feel like this is one of those things that, like, in 2050, this may turn out to be more accurate than we know.
Gosh, I hope not.
Not the V that's causing everybody to explode, but the general, like, divide in society. Because now, like I said, this is one of those ones that, like, you watch it and you're like, it seems extreme and, like, you know, it's kind of wild and out there, and the characters are broad and all this. But then the more you watch it, the more you're like, yeah, this is kind of what's happening now and how certain people would like things to be. And it gets a little creepy at that point. It's like when you watch Soylent Green.
Oh, no, that's not...
And you're like, oh, okay, this is like 2 weeks away from happening at any given point, you know?
Let me tell you, every time I see the price of strawberries go up, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're in technically Soylent Green was like last year, right?
No,
2024?
No, 2022.
2022, so... Like,
the timing is not perfect on these things. It might be 2032 before we hit Soylent Green.
They're not, but I mean, the prices of the organic strawberries are like $9. So, I mean, that's close to $300. Yeah. Not as close. But I always keep my eye on that because it freaks me out. I do not like to discuss said movie, and we are moving on now because that movie freaked me out when I watched it, and I was like, oh, that's sci-fi. That's never going to happen. That's not a thing. And the more and more each year passes by and all the crazy things, I'm like, oh, then you got Army Hammer for eating people out here. Like, it's just like, okay, it's food.
But now this movie, I like the setting for it. You get this weird contrast of, like, the homeless people that we're following around for the most part. They all live in what looks like just alleyways and streets now. And then when you move to where the richer people are at, it's all white, clean, nice. It looks like the city. It reminded me of the city on the one Planet of the Apes movie, where they're the older one, where they're in the future, and they're in like the white futuristic city that's actually just a regular city in California, but people thought it looked futuristic at the time. That's what this looks like, because it's not so far advanced. I mean, it's not like Blade Runner.
Yeah,
It's still very realistic what it was. If you said it was set now, you could still be like, okay, that's fine. And, of course, the effects on this are insane.
This film was very hard to watch for me.
Yeah, it's a lot. The original one was, from what I remember of it, like I said, I saw it many years ago and I haven't gone back to it. But it was the same kind of unsettling effects, and I feel like they really upped the ante on it this way.
They sure did. I mean... Ew.
Yeah. And we mean that as a compliment. Ew. Like, anytime that there's, like... Now, there are obviously some digital things in this, but as far as I can tell, most of this stuff looked like it was done practically.
Besides the disgustingness of the rot god, like, whatever.
The bodies melting, people exploding...
Ooh, yeah.
Penises chopped off. There's a lot of crazy things that happen in this movie.
There is a lot of crazy things. The homeless people themselves, so Ronald is like the head, I want to say the head, but it seems to be there's like different factions. There's like, of course, like the crime lord, that's and let me tell you never expect the crime lord to be who it is. They're referred to, I believe, as like the Rat King
the Rat King.
And when you see who it is, it just gets even more disgusting and weird from there. Because it's like, oh, this is the person that has all these people to their knees and is doing all that. Because they're just so, like, you wouldn't imagine. And then they have, like, a slave, which is, like, kissing and, like, licking, like, their feet. It's just it's very grotesque. And... this is all done. This person's like on a hospital bed, so they have their henchmen that go out and do their biddings and whatnot. But even within the homeless group, there's a division, And what gets in the social commentary, besides obviously the disparity between the rich and the poor, is even down to the level of the homeless groups. They're fighting with amongst themselves because the resources are low, and they're fighting for the resources and doing whatever they need to do to survive for their own faction. But of course, you just have to get to the point where it's like, they're already killing us all and dividing us. Let's stick together, band together, so then we can go and attack them, because they're the problem. We need to get rid of them. They're the ones in the wrong. And that alone, I mean, like, come on. Really, how many horror movies out there are really touching base? Like, this is one where it's like, oh, this is a pretty decent revision. I don't want to say a remake, but
yeah, because they took it a completely different direction than
they sure did.
But then again, as we've talked about that before, that's the best horror or remakes of any kind are ones that take kind of the basic premise and then go in a completely different direction with it. Like John Carpenter's The Thing. He just took the basic premise of the original. He went back more to the novel of the creature, changing shape. The Fly. They, took their thing. He gets in the teleporter, gets merged with the fly. Instead of having the fly head and hand, it's all about, changing his DNA and him becoming the fly. The Blob. They focused more on the characters than they did the Blob in it. And
the Blob didn't have any speaking parts in this one?
No. The Blob didn't talk. They cut all these lines. But yeah, you see what I mean. Like, the Blob is probably the one that stuck the closest to the original, actually. But the rest of them kind of took the premise and just completely changed it.
Yeah.
And
all three amazing films.
Yeah, that's kind of the holy trilogy of horror remakes. And this one does a great job because, like I said, it takes the basic idea of it. The original idea for this, I'm sure, was let's make a really gross out movie. Mm-hmm. Let's make people just want to vomit when they're watching it. Because that was the purpose of the original.
Yeah.
Was let's just gross people out. And then they managed to take the whole let's gross people out and throw in some social commentary with it. And you can watch it either way. You can watch it just as a gross out movie, or you can watch it and be like, oh, I see what they're doing. I feel like this is going to be one of those ones that a lot of younger people watch it and don't necessarily get all of it. Or maybe it doesn't hit them as hard as it does people that have been around for a while and seen all the changes. Yes, this is an old man talking now.
Oh my gosh, stop. No, I don't know. It depends on the person, because there's a lot of times where people that are within our own like separate ages, don't recognize it. So it just takes a person that's just open and knows what's going on and understands, like, and is able to see, like, okay, this is what it is. And then you are gonna have a lot of people that are just like, man, that's a cool, like, disgusting movie, and not take any of the social commentary away, like you said. So I don't think, like, age-wise. I think it's just, like, what that person,
Yeah, that's true.
What kind of are they, like, a one-dimensional or, like, a two-dimensional person, But I see what you're saying with the age. It depends. I don't think, like, a 15-year-old is going to be like, oh, yeah. Like, the majority, But, damn, some of them are so, like, enlightened. You just never know.
It's going to be one of those things, like, when I was a kid and I watched Escape from New York. Like, a lot of those scenes hit a lot different now, where Snake is talking about things, and it's like, I don't give a fuck about your president or your war, and you're like, oh, that feels different than it did when I watched it as a kid.
Exactly, because those things didn't matter to you, and they weren't, like, a pressing matter.
Yeah. And they do a great job with, keeping the commentary, keeping a lot of wild and crazy comedy going on with it. We've got the imaginary, like, little demon leprechaun thing that the guy is he imaginary, as it turns out. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't.
I'm gonna say that may be my favorite part of the film, is the crazy guy and his imaginary friend
that's just going around,
which is like claymate, like, what was it, like a puppet claymation,
like a puppet claymation. It's going around doing all these horrible things from time to time,
and it's fantastic. And there's parts where I'm like, ooh, cringe, like, that's that's not gonna be good.
Again, this is one of those ones that, like, there's parts of it that you, and we mean this as a compliment, you kind of turn your head and go, no, I can't see that. No, I don't need to know about that.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of head turning on my part, because I'm not about, just like in a slasher or any kind of other horror film. I'm really not about the gore. I feel like that's just a way to like have poor storytelling to just give them that shock value that way. Terrifier, but 2 and 3, but
I feel like this one found the balance of yes, it's extreme, yes, it's over the top,
but they're saying something.
But that's the point of it. It is crazy and over the top.
It is crazy and over the top, but there is a point that it's a good mix. It's like it has a message, but it also is fun. You know, it's funny and it's disgusting at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of like that Body Melt movie that we saw.
Yeah.
Like I like that movie. It is out there, but I enjoyed it. So I would say, you know, it's in that same like house.
If you enjoy like the ones like the Body Melt and that kind of extreme kind of gross out stuff, then this one's going to be for you. You can take it, the commentary, or leave it. It's up to you.
Yeah. Well, the group has to go, of course, like in all things, after, you know, they try to rally everyone together and get everyone to see, like, this is what we should be doing. They have to uncover the truth. Just like, you know, in They Live and any of those movies where it's just like, okay, we got to get everyone else to see what's going on because this is not right and this is happening, you know?
Yeah.
You know, try to be heard, you know, have a voice in that situation when it's like, it's kind of hard to have a voice when you're like melting down.
That's a good comparison too, is They Live. Is it kind of, you know, every year we get closer and closer to that movie being a fucking documentary. And this is going to be one of those ones that's like that.
I mean, didn't the Pentagon say that the aliens are living amongst us? So I'm just like, okay, where's the sunglasses at? Because we all know everyone's about consuming and they're always distracted and telling us to Hey, I mean, could they live also be like, oh, this is a thing now. Like, we want you to consume, we want you to procreate. Like,
yeah, I'm waiting for the sign on that.
Bye. It's all over the place. Everyone's telling what to do with everyone else's bodies. Everyone's telling to do, you know, buy more shit. You need more stuff. You know, it's crazy. It's just really crazy.
And yeah, these kind of movies, like, the more they just make you think about things that maybe you don't necessarily want to, but they did a great job with this, and it's manages to be a lot of fun along with the crazy gross out of it. Now, if you can't take the gross out on it, this one might not be for you. If you can't deal with the extreme gore, then you might want to skip this one. Not saying that's a bad thing. Some people aren't into the extreme gore, so if you can't handle that, yeah, give this one a pass. But if you can handle it, this is a good one.
If you saw this director, Ryan Krueger, his other film, Fried Berry, if you were able to catch that, came out in 2020, then you understand that style and...
Yeah, that was on Joe Bob Briggs' last drive-in a while back, I think, too.
Yeah, you'll get the style and, you know, the look of what he's like. He's he does like music videos too, like a whole bunch of that's what he's like, his main thing, right? And these are his two films, and this was co-written with him, and then James C. Williamson did co-wrote with him this film,
and also Fried Berry.
And Fried Berry, yes. So the duo demand, and you know, it's just one of those things, like, you're sitting down, like, the idea of it all, like, oh yeah, let's do this, you know, how, like, they must have obviously loved the original.
Yeah, had love for the original, and you know, it shows, because you can tell the people that, you know, enjoy it because they try not to shit on the original, basically.
Yeah.
Trying to take it down a peg or two.
Yeah, definly rose above the original.
Now, this is going to be available for Blu-ray. It's going to be on Blu-ray and 4K and all that in England starting February 17th. It'll be available in the U.S. the next week, and Vinegar Syndrome is actually putting it out over here.
Awesome.
So, you know, Vinegar Syndrome always does an insane job on their stuff. It comes with slipcovers, all that. It looks cool.
Yeah, it's coming out on the 25th on Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah, it'll be the 17th in the UK, but I don't know if Vinegar Syndrome distributes over there or not. So it's probably someone different.
So I can't wait to see what else they come up with.
Yeah.
Like what's you know, because, you know, they have always things in the wings.
That Body Melt would be a good one for them to remake too.
Yeah, that would be very interesting because it does, I mean... Hello, weight loss, like with the Ozempic thing, like they can
comment
totally
on
go.
Ozempic and all that. The Substance has already been out, kind of showing that kind of stuff will be popular. Let these guys take a more like crazed, the Substance is good, but it's more of the mainstream horror version of that kind of thing. I'd like to see these guys do their kind of underground subversive take on it.
I mean, the movie is called Body Melts, so what else? Like, it's all in the movie. Just as this like street trash. It's just like there's a double.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one 3 knives.
Three knives, really?
I had fun with it.
Okay, I'm giving it 2 knives.
Okay.
I'm very conservative about my knife giving.
Yes, you're a little tougher on it than I am.
I'm a little tougher on it, and also I'm all over the place with the knife giving. It's like, I don't even know, but I'm going with the 2 knives. I got to look away a lot. I like the social commentary of it. The pacing was a little weird in some places, but so I'm not taking away a knife because of that, but I'm sticking with my 2. You going for 3. And you should check it out. Street Trash. Thanks so much for joining us in another episode, and stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.